Now we want to turn to congressional correspondent Scott MacFarlane. Scott, what are you hearing this morning?
Yeah, there's been this concern ever since the December 21st vehicle attack in Germany about the prospect of copycats or this metastasizing into other attacks in other places. You'll recall what happened in Germany a couple weeks ago, where there were dozens of people critically injured in a vehicular intentional attack there. We know in so many cities around the country, and New Orleans has talked about this in the past, they try to reduce the risk of this by putting up bollards, putting up impediments to vehicles. Here in Washington, D.C., we're quite accustomed to seeing those dump trucks and sand trucks at all the major entry points to the city on the major roads when there's an inauguration, when there's a security event, when there's going to be a large crowd. In Times Square last night, the police spotlighted that they had vehicle barriers up. But Sam Vinograd's correct. There's only so much risk you can minimize by blocking access points to cars. It requires intelligence on the ground. And you're going to see that rolled out when they talk about the Super Bowl security regimen in New Orleans. Yes, the Super Bowl's there in a few weeks. They make that a national homeland security event, and they're going to emphasize how they have their intelligence and analysis teams there to try to further minimize risk. The FBI report, speaking to CBS News, is that the driver of the truck is dead after some type of interaction with the police there. But we know from the past few months, watching a very symmetrical investigation, when the person responsible, believed responsible, is dead, what law enforcement does next. We know this from Butler, Pennsylvania in July, when the shooter who attempted to kill Donald Trump was killed on site. Among the first things investigators did was go to the parents' house, talk to the friends, go through the IT equipment in that person's home to try to get some sense immediately about whether there's a possible motive to deduce, but also, are there others somehow affiliated to this that are themselves a threat of a future attack, but also can inform what happened overnight in New Orleans? You can see how, Michael, this all expands into a web of an investigation that transcends just New Orleans itself. They find out where this attacker is from, the investigation moves there. But also, everybody redoubles their security around events in that city and outside that city. It's worth reinforcing, Michael. Sugar Bowl is there tonight.
Right, and Scott, you make a good point. We're going to have a reckoning about how we protect these major events.